All right, we are now joined by one of the newest members of the San Jose Earthquakes. It is Dave Romney. Dave, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, man. And I was excited to hear your name being rumored as one of the guys who was coming to San Jose because I found you pesky when you were on the other side of a certain rivalry, but I also knew you were good. So, yeah, now you're on the other side of this, man. You're back in California. So just take me through the process of finding out you were coming to San Jose.
Yeah, found out kind of maybe a week or so ago. Just yeah, it's been kind of a crazy process, kind of around Thanksgiving, kind of around like all the whole your time with the family, and we've just been incredibly excited because my wife's whole family's from the Bay Area. I went to school in the Bay Area. I have so many friends still there. And yeah, we've got two twin girls who are 16 months old, and gonna hopefully have another one coming soon. So just being around that much friends and family is gonna be so much more helpful. And yeah, it was tough having a 7 hour flight with two in lap infants on your flight, just screaming and wiggling around and stuff like that. Coming back to the West Coast for her because my wife, her job, she'd have to travel west a couple of times and she'd have to take them just because I couldn't watch them if I was at road games and stuff like
Right.
that. So it was extremely tough her having to travel on a 6 hour flight by herself with twins. And if we're going to add another one to the mix soon, that would be, I couldn't even imagine. I don't know how she does it by herself, but yeah, it's crazy. But
No,
then,
man, that's wild, and
yeah.
that's great. I assume you probably met your wife back when you were going to school at USF.
So it's a funny story. I mean, I don't know if this, you didn't have me on to tell me how I met my wife, but
Dude, we got to get to know you.
yeah, my college teammate was high school sweethearts with her college roommate, and she went to school down in Orange County. And so
No,
we knew who each other were for like 4 or 5 years, just through like mutuals and stuff like that. Never met, and then just ran into each other one night, and then been together ever since.
nice. And you're from the Irvine area, right?
Yeah, like Orange County, Southern
Nice,
California.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now my wife's from Orange County as well, so it's not a bad place to grow up. If I was going to pick
yeah.
anywhere but the Bay Area, I think Orange County would be right there towards the top. So yeah, man, like just you've been doing this for a while. You are a consistent performer in Major League Soccer. This will be year number 11 for you coming up. What in terms of your motivations, the dragons to slay? What are you looking at right now at this next part of your career?
I mean, I've just kind of strived for perfection and excellence everywhere I've been. I've tried to do as good as I could everywhere I've been. And at USF, I played almost every single minute of college soccer when I was there. I was available in Galaxy, Nashville, and San Jose almost every minute I could play. And just kind of always striving for being a good pro, just doing my job on and off the field, trying to stay as healthy as possible, as good as possible, and just keeping a level of consistency and perfectionism and professionalism my whole career is something that I think I've been pretty good at and hoping to continue it ever. Body still feels great, still feel fast and lively and all these things. So I'm excited. And I've always wanted to be back in California. So I'm definitely very, very excited. And yeah, a Bay Area couldn't be a better spot for me at this time in my life. So I'm very, very happy with how this kind of transpired.
Bruce Arena obviously likes you. This will be the third time he's your head coach. Tell us about working with Bruce Arena because everyone, it's I think it's almost unfortunate people overlook his tactical acumen because they're always so eager to talk about him being kind of the king of good vibes with his teams.
I mean, that you couldn't put it any better. He's the king of good vibes. Everywhere I've been, and I think you've seen it with a lot of his teams, is his man management is extremely good and his teams are usually in good moods and he gives days offs in good times. And like I think he keeps his players fresh and motivated and healthy throughout the course of a season. So you'd see it in LA where his teams would really pick up steam kind of later summer going into fall before playoffs because they're not just mentally drained and kind of through this really tough season where you see some of those teams where coach maybe gives 3 off days a month or they're just getting grinded out there. And
Mhm.
I think the course of a season, his teams are usually mentally fresher, which is often overlooked a lot in Major League Soccer kind of teams and kind of situations. So everyone's so focused on what's the data say, are the guys like running this many meters per week, all this stuff, but people aren't really focused so much on like mentally how are the guys doing. And I
Right.
think he's so good at that, and I think that's why he's had a lot of success. And he's obviously a tactically smart coach. He couldn't be as good as he is in history without it. And he surrounds himself with really good people. He trusts in his people, and he just has a lot of really good positive qualities that help a whole organization run really smoothly throughout the course of a year, and not just burn out come summer or fall once you're in
Yeah,
like month 7 of the season.
oh, it's interesting you were talking about just the management and working with other guys, because I was talking to Jamie Watson about this last week, and he was saying just the whole kind of the MO that he's heard with Bruce is just that he knows how to allow his assistant coaches to work, and he doesn't have to be on top of everybody all the time. He's willing to delegate. He's willing to let other
Yeah.
people step up and take the lead. Was that kind of what you saw previously?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in New England, this past stretch I had with him, Shalry Joseph, who was on his staff, he would have us defenders all in a defenders meeting every Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'd be looking at 40, 50 clips from the previous game and going over what we think was positive and negative from stuff like that. It's not just like, oh, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. He'd point out, I like how you guys did this here. And it's not just, so it's like building confidence as well as then looking at bad clips and stuff like, all right, what were you thinking here? How can you communicate this better? And just kind of getting a dialogue going between the whole back line, just because that's so important as a defender, just constant communication. So I think those sessions and him trusting in Shalry during those sessions, he'd join in on those sessions sometimes. Sometimes it'd be just us. I think that's pivotal, and just giving your staff confidence as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm curious because you've been doing this since 2015. The league keeps on getting better. You keep on playing the overwhelming majority of games in the season. I think last year you had 27 appearances, 24 of them were starts. Obviously, you've done it on some really, really good teams. How much more difficult is your job now as a defender compared to what it was when you were a rookie in this league?
Um, I would hope to say it's easier. I mean, you're obviously going to come across those opponents like Messi and Suarez, like we saw in the Miami game, where sometimes you can play great defense and there's just good offense. You're not going to stop a shot from Messi from 35 out who's going to put it top ends. But I think I've been fortunate where you always talk about kind of older guys saying the game slows down or stuff like that. They see that. And so I've been lucky enough to, I guess, have 7, 8, 9, 10 years of experience in the league before we've seen a lot of these insanely good players come in. Whereas maybe if I had to join the league as a 20-year-old now, it would maybe be too much. But because I'm already at a point in my career where I can see the game a little bit faster and I can just kind of be more calm and organizing the guys around me, that I've been able to still thrive even though the league has gotten better. And hopefully I've also gotten better as the league has gotten better. But it's been exciting to see. It's exciting to see for U.S. soccer as a whole. And yeah, I can't wait, even when I'm done playing in hopefully 5, 6 years, that the league just keeps on flourishing.
I'm sure you don't miss having to defend Chris Wondolowski, though, right?
Yeah. I
What was
actually didn't mind it. Yeah, it was cool because I remember one of my favorite like Bruceisms is what people say is one of the best ways you could defend Wando. And Bruce would say, space has never scored a goal. So find a man when you're in the box. And Wando was so good about just finding space, finding spots where nobody was guarding him, and just getting those goals and being a poacher. So it's one of those things I would honestly think about when having to try to defend Wando.
what is your look at where the Earthquakes are right now? Because obviously they're coming off a bad year. They were at the bottom of the table. I think that the record is not indicative of what they probably should have been, but my longtime broadcast partner, Joe Cannon, has always been very quick to tell me that the table doesn't lie, even if it doesn't tell the whole story. So do you feel confident that you can be part of a group that turns things around?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, scored 41 goals. That's still good. It was, I mean, let in a decent amount of goals. So that's something that I hopefully can come in and help fix. And I think one of Bruce's biggest attributes is he's a phenomenal GM. So he's going to bring in really good players on both sides of the ball, I'm sure, and all the midfielders as well. Just kind of sure things up everywhere. But I've played against this team. I've played against guys in this league who are now on this team as well, and there's a lot of talent. So I'm very excited. I remember playing when I was playing for Galaxy, playing against Espinoza in one of those games at Stanford Stadium where you guys were playing man to man and we're just running up and down the sideline for 90 minutes. I was like, that was one of the more exhausting games I've ever been a part of. But I just know the talent this team has, and I'm excited.
Yeah, Christian Espinosa, man, he's That guy's motor is absurd. He just runs up and down. It's even though they're not playing the man marking system anymore.
Yeah.
I don't expect Bruce to put it in. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but he still just goes. Like he just has a motor. I guess a guy like Espinosa, are there other guys in the league where you've just now kind of been like, yeah, okay, now I'm back in the West. I don't have to see that guy in the East Coast as much as I used to. Or is it just, does every team just present so many unique challenges?
Yeah, every team does. I would never really shy away from those. I really, really enjoy them. I mean, in the East, we had obviously you had Messi and Suarez, which was a cool and fun experience against Miami. But like one week you'd be playing Luciano Acosta, who's 5'4" and unbelievably quick and smart and great touch. And then next week you're guarding Christian Benteke, who's like 6'5", and you're every single week is a different challenge, and it's just extremely fun, and I kind of relish in those opportunities, and I would love to play against guys like that every single week. Just it's a fun and it's a great test, and that's kind of what gets your competitive juices flowing, and it's what's still exciting as me being just turning 31, what I still want to get up and play for.
Nah, man, 31. You got days ahead of you. That's nothing,
Sure.
man. It's funny because we all look at, in sports now, and I think there's like the joke about, well, he's, 30 years old. He's the old man out there and things of that nature. Whereas now, I mean, the management we have of bodies, the recovery methods, it feels like everything is allowing guys to go as long as they want to. I mean, injuries happen. That's a part of every athlete's career. But I mean, watching your film from last year in the last couple of days, I was like, yeah, Dave looks like he did in 2016. Like, I don't see very much difference in your game. Do you feel different in your game?
Still feel the same. And it's very comforting seeing guys playing Champions League games at 38, 39, 40 at Pepe, like at 41. It's just, so it is very comforting knowing if you do the right things, if you do take care of yourself and you do put in the work, that you still can play at a high level for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, it's the modern athlete, man. You guys, they know a lot more now than they did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And which, by the way, when you look back at some of those freaks who did play forever back in the day, you just wonder like how long, like in the modern era of baseball, like Nolan Ryan, how long could he have gone? Like you just start thinking about that. Or like if Zlatan was coming up today, he went into like his early 40s. Like if he was starting today, could he go to like 50? Like I don't know. It's a trip, but I guess now, you're in the off season. What's your day to day like? I mean, obviously you're a family man, but do you stay off the ball for a while? Are you just in the gym? Or are you working on conditioning? Like, what's that like for you right now?
Yeah, I'd say the first month or so is it's off the ball. And then as we're getting closer to the season, you're trying to play some pickup, you're trying to get touches, do some specific stuff. But a lot of it is just a lot of conditioning and lifting. I take pride in lifting. I like it. I know a lot of other guys do, and some European guys don't touch the gym at all, and they just don't like it. So it's definitely kind of hit or miss with the locker room. But for me, I like it, and I think the off season is a really, really good time to kind of get your base strength back. I mean, you can't always lift during the weeks, and say you have a 3-game week, you're not going to lift like in between like a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday game. So there are times in the season where you're just trying to lift to kind of maintain, whereas in the off season, you kind of build it back up and try to get stronger. So I definitely take the off seasons to get stronger in the weight room, and then just hammer out conditioning and footwork and ball stuff, like probably the month or so once before preseason starts.
Here's the one that I always wonder about, and I get different answers from different athletes. Because do you eat more calories off season or in season? Because I know some guys, they're like, yeah, I'll eat a little bit more to try and, build some muscle mass. But other guys, they'll say during the season, because of how much work and practice they're doing, they say they literally can't eat enough.
Yeah, I definitely eat more in the season. Like in the off season, if I'm not working out as hard or as often, then I'm kind of eating like 2 meals a day, maybe like a later breakfast and then just dinner. Whereas mid-season, like during the season, I'm very, very strict about like trying to eat a lot of carbs and just fueling myself enough so that I have energy for some of these long training sessions and games. Whereas in the off season, it's like maybe I'm trying to cut a little bit of weight, or I'm just trying to, I'm like, oh, I didn't even work out today. Like I definitely don't need 3 meals or stuff like that. But it's tough. You get around the holidays, you're on vacations, you're traveling. It's definitely hard to be super strict with your diet. But once season comes around, I'm definitely a lot more strict, and then also like focusing on getting in like my carbs and all that stuff a lot more.
It used to be funny on the road. Shea Salinas, who I'm sure was a pesky guy to have to deal with as a defender, in the meal room, he would walk up for like his seconds or thirds and just say to specifically no one, be like, can't eat enough the night before a game. And we'd all just kind of look at him and be like, sure. Like, I'm not going to argue with that.
And that's why he had so many goals in the 90th plus minute. He would score at Stanford Stadium every single time. Oh, it was the worst.
Right on, man. Well, Dave, I know you've got stuff to attend to, man. Very happy that you are a member of the San Jose Earthquakes and on this side of the rivalry. And I'll be bugging you soon when you're in the Bay Area. All right.
Perfect. Nice to meet you. Have a good one.